a joint of joy, happiness, vigor, longevity, and life. He has come to enjoy, to live, to know his Maker, and to live in communion with him. That is the aim of human life. Not that we isolate him, make him a participant of a sectional doctrine or a sectional religion. He has to be one, the whole race. It has to have respect for every religion, for every prophet, for every good thought that has come to us. As they say in the Vedas, let us think together, let us receive good thoughts together. They are meant for all humanity, and if you divide them into sections, you are creating the very conditions for self-destruction. Especially in this age, when man has reached a very high stature intellectually. Therefore, what I say about Kundalini confirms the teaching of religions, provided the explanation for the birth of the prophets, and also for the ideals that they placed before mankind. And perhaps, if God wills, in course of time, the research made on what I am saying will confirm all this.
You have said that consciousness is ultimate reality.
Yes.
Do you use this term interchangeably with God? God as...
Yes, I have mentioned it even in my books. You see, it is not possible at this stage to make finer distinctions. They will occur at a later stage. Let first the research be done. Because if I do not use it as interchangeable with God or Almighty or Lord, then one book will be needed first to explain the differences. So God for me, Allah, Brahman, cosmic consciousness, the Lord, they all denote the ultimate reality behind the universe. And that ultimate reality is consciousness.
The word education comes from the Latin educere, meaning to draw out or to lead out that which is potential within. Now you have presented the idea of Kundalini as human potential.
Yes.
So if Kundalini is a potent super intelligent energy pervading the cosmos and responsible for our life, the bioenergy, and if it is the biological basis of our human potential for a growth to a higher state of consciousness, I would like to hear you comment upon the significance of Kundalini research then for education, since education means literally to draw out that which is potential.
Well, in that sense, the universe is within us, lies in us. It is not an outer thing. It comes from within. And all our training and reading and writing is only drawing upon the information which is already present in human beings, subject to the capacity of our brain. If the capacity is changed, as by the rise of Kundalini, then knowledge which no books can give can come into the mind, and that is revelation. The very fact of revelation and inspiration proves that knowledge comes from within. Because in the discoveries of science, or in the works of great art, or in the revelations of religion, you find that knowledge that was not gained by experience, or that which is contrary to experience, is there. So it has come from some other source than man's own experience. It has come from the inner source. For me, it is a reality, because At a certain stage in my development, I started to write in languages which I had never read and of which I had no knowledge.
This was a genuine psychic experience.
Yes, I started to write in languages. I had a gift of languages, as they say, which I had never read. And I started to write in a verse form, which I had never attempted in all my life, nor had even a taste for it. And I did it in so many languages. And still I am writing now books in verse sometimes. In fact, the inspiration comes better in verse, where I have to say something which is in the form of a prophecy, or which is a criticism of the modern conditions, or in which I have to give some things I have found from within. I generally use verse form for that expression. So knowledge comes from within. Now, research on Kundalini will show us to what extent and in what form knowledge should be acquired. Whether we should overload the brain with all the facts and figures of the universe, or we should adopt methods by which the inner knowledge wells up by certain stimulation from outside. By reading, of course, but now we read huge volumes full of statistical data which loads the mind, and you will find one extraordinary thing, that almost all the great mystics and the great prophets were very poorly educated. The brain was free for the experience. This loading of the brain, I am writing about this in my books, loading of the brain with facts and figures and information, it does not satisfy your curiosity. On the other hand, it makes it more and more hungry for information. And also it can act as a hindrance to the evolution. This will be one of the most important contributions of research on Kundalini. How far and to what extent and of what kind should be our education. And secondly, our educational system should also include self-discipline and meditation as a part of the cultural activity of our youth. They should know to have self-mastery. At the present moment, we leave the children free because it is thought that they will be suppressed or repressed or something extraordinary will happen. And then when they have burnt themselves and committed excesses in their youth, in the majority of cases, we then deplore why now they have ruined their lives in many cases. We leave them totally free. We never guide them at the critical periods of their life. Education, the future education after the research on Kundalini should take account of this fact also, that the children should be taught, of course with their own cooperation, without repression or without suppression, to learn the art of self-mastery from early childhood, and also to make them conversant with this Kundalini, that it is a part of their evolution. Also with their spiritual ideals. It is only then that you can have a better race of human beings. It has to start. True spiritual education, true spiritual discipline, and true education on sex has to start from an early age, so that, not too early in age, but say from the age of 10 or 9, so that the children, when they grow up, are more harmonious, have better self-restraint, are more in the know of their own life and its target than in the speed of life, or what happens in the farthermost corner of the cosmos. They should know more about themselves than about things which are totally beyond their reach.
Pandit, would you please comment on the significance now of Kundalini research and the Kundalini experience for our political and our social systems? What does this experience of yours and the research that you propose imply about the very forms of living that our societies take?
Now, one of the first results of research on Kundalini, in my view, would be to show that the human brain is already evolving towards a higher, predetermined state of consciousness. A state of consciousness that has been the crowning vision of the mystics and the prophets. I believe that mankind as a whole is evolving towards that level of perception in which the multiplicity of the universe converges into one unity. This evolutionary process is so complex that perhaps all the resources of science which we have been able to build so far will not be able to cope with the demands, because the whole system of man, his thoughts, his feelings, his passions, his social structures, and his political systems are involved in this chain. The more and more he evolves, his social and political environments should show a corresponding improvement. He should be free from tension, anxiety, worry. He should have no fear of war. He should have no fear of aggression or violence. He must have all his basic needs satisfied. He must not lack for food or for clothing or for shelter. His basic needs must be fulfilled. If this does not happen, and the evolutionary drive continues, then there will be a distortion, an abortion of the process, and not superhuman beings but abnormal beings will result. Just as we find that in China, in the olden times, they used to compress the feet of women. Wooden or iron shoes were fixed to the feet so that the size of the feet would remain small. That was considered to be an attribute of beauty. And it was found often that when the shoes were removed, they were distorted. The fingers had gone inside. The whole thing was curved and ugly.
The toes had become deformed.
Before, yes. In fact, curved. They went like this. I mean, they curved under the soles. Mm-hmm. Similarly, our social and political systems at the moment are creating a distortion of the human mind. This is what higher consciousness reveals. The increase in crime, violence, the threat of war, the rush after armaments, the preparations for war, all are the outcome